I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Well, the Spirit Group program that we've been doing, that we started, I don't know, 3 months ago or something, I think. We started off by training facilitators, and then we got groups happening in different people's homes and here at the church, and it's been a great success. So thank you, everyone who's been a part of the Spirit Groups. The first round is still going on. There are, I'm thinking, about 30 people involved in the Spirit Groups. And so we thought it'd be fun today to let you know a little bit about what's happening, what the Spirit Groups have been about. So they're going to get a chance to share. Some of the people that have been active in the Spirit Groups will come up and share from their hearts some of the things that they've experienced in the Spirit Groups. And then I'm going to introduce the next round of Spirit Groups and what this incredible curriculum that we have planned for those groups. So you might remember that the Spirit Groups have these, what we call the 5 C's, and they are communion, connection, compassion, community, and challenge. They're sort of the essence of what these groups are based around. And they were the dominant feature in the first round of Spirit Groups, and they're sort of the underlying curriculum in the Spirit Groups that follow. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to go through and tell you about each one, and then I'll have people get up and share about them also. So communion is about that communion between us and Spirit. It's about amplifying that connection between us and through prayer and meditation, and really lifting up our connection with our inner selves and with the presence of God that's everywhere in the universe. It's an important factor. It happens in every Spirit Group, in every meeting. The second C is connection, and this is about developing friendships in our groups. Those of you in Spirit Groups, have you noticed that? Have you deepened your friendships with other people in the group because you're there and you're sharing and you're connecting with each other and you're doing social activities together and you are also doing social activities together? The next C is compassion. And, what we're really working on is creating a Unity Church of Maui that is compassionate. Have you noticed that the compassion level has risen in this ministry? It's really been my goal for a couple years, but I believe it's really happening as a result of the Spirit Groups. And we're taking that out into Maui as well and sharing our compassion with this larger community. One of the groups, community is the next one. And so we're building this community here at Unity Church of Maui, and we're also looking to how can we build community in Maui? How can we make ourselves, or make's not really a good word, but how can we empower ourselves to be a part of and present to Maui? And I think it's kind of fun. One of our Spirit Groups did this event for Maui Food Bank. And here they are. They boxed up, 500 boxes of food? So I heard 528. They were a part of this larger group here and put that many boxes of food together in how much time? In 2 hours. Wow. And what a great thing to do, to connect ourselves and to be a part of something larger than us and contribute to the welfare and the consciousness of Maui. And the next thing, there is our facilitators. We had a facilitator training before we took the Spirit Groups out to the congregation, to you, and these were our facilitator trainers in our training. And of course, one of the things that we got to do was to serve this community. And so we worked for a few hours. I think we gathered like 19 bags of leaves, if I'm not, in a couple hours. And so these groups are really a great opportunity to show some compassion, show some connection, show some love, show some research to Unity Church of Maui and to the greater community. And the last C is challenge. One of the things that happens in the spirit groups is, of course, we challenge ourselves to create a social activity, to create something involved in the community, and we also challenge ourselves spiritually to take our spiritual practice to a higher level. So those are the 5 C's, the basic, kind of the crux or the skeleton of the spirit groups. And so now I'm going to turn this over to people in the groups, and Joy is going to start it off by talking to us about the first C, which is communion. Let's give Joy a hand.
Aloha. So communion is kind of the cornerstone of it all. You know, our relationship with God, our own God self within, our higher self is kind of where it all we build from. And in the spirit groups, in the video, she demonstrated it by, she had this set of Russian dolls. And the inside, the little tiny one inside was the communion one. So everything else is built up around that. And for most of us in the groups, we had our own spiritual practice, and we shared with each other what we each do to commune with God. And for, you know, I think for myself, I've been doing it for ever since I started doing TM in 1970. So I start every morning with some form of meditation, and it's kind of changed over the years, partly because I've been involved with groups, and I hear about other people's versions of their spiritual practice, and I go, oh, that sounds good. I think I'd like to add that to mine. So that's what we did in our groups. We went around and shared what we each do. And one of the members reads from Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, every morning. I personally have just started doing the Course in Miracles for the first time. I bought the books 40 years ago and tried doing it and just didn't get anywhere. So this time I decided to do it for real, and I'm really enjoying it. And that's just a part of my daily spiritual practice. I meditate, I pray, I do affirmations. And in our group, we decided that we would start our groups with a prayer, start and end with a prayer, and we would sing a song every morning too. So somebody brought a song for us to all to sing together. And we also shared that it's important not just to do the communing once a day in the morning, but have some practice that helps you to get back in touch when you fall out, which we do all day long. But what do you do to get back into center again? And we all had different ideas about how we do that. And one of them, for me, was to get back into gratitude by singing Karen Drucker's song. What is it? Lonnie, help me. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed. That song goes through my head. Thank you. I sing that song many times during the day because every time I catch myself, I go right back into gratitude with that. And another one that I use, it comes from a talk that Blaine gave years ago, and I latched on to one phrase from it, which is, only the love is real. And so whenever I wind up having, angry feelings about something, or, some incident happens or whatever, I just go right back into only the love is real. And anyway, so in groups you can learn all kinds of new ways to bring yourself back into center again, to add to your own spiritual practice. And if you don't have a spiritual practice already, and I highly recommend that you do, Unity says prayer and meditation is kind of the foundation of all. Come to the group and you'll get some ideas about what to do for your spiritual practice. So, thank you.
Thank you, Joy. That was beautiful. Wow. So the second C that I'm sharing about is connection. And, Steve Sandy's husband, I don't know really well, but he is in our spirit group. And he's also a auto mechanic and an excellent body mechanic. And we are looking at purchasing or getting a different van here for Sunday mornings, and Steve is helping us kind of sort through that process. And so we decided to invite Steve to our board meeting this last Friday to come and share some things with the board about, what can we do, what can we look for, what kind of attitude should we have, what's important in getting a different van. And Steve showed up and walked in, shook my hand and sat down, and I really felt a connection with him over and above what I have felt before. I felt like, hey, this guy's my friend, yeah? Because I've spent 6 or 7 or 8 weeks with him in a spirit group, and I know him on a deeper level. It's like I get him. I know him. I feel him more than I did before. And also what I've noticed in the group is there was somebody in our group who was quiet and reserved for the first few meetings. It'd be time to check in and to share, and the person wouldn't go very deep. Had a couple things to say or sometimes passed. And that worked for a couple weeks. And then the third week, the person showed up, and it's like all of a sudden, the person was there. Yeah, and was being vulnerable and sharing, because, it's in our vulnerability that our heart opens up. And what our group allowed for us all to do is to come show up and be vulnerable, to be real, because that's how we really get to know each other, to move beyond our own doubts and our fears, and to be able to stand in our truth, to know it's okay to feel our feelings, to know it's okay to be vulnerable. And then, 2 people in our group don't come to Unity Church very often because they both work on Sundays. And so they're not able to be a part of this community on Sunday morning. And what's happened is because, and that's cool, by the way, to be part of a spirit group and not necessarily come on Sunday, but I do keep track of everybody. But it's totally okay. And what happened in the process is that, we still feel this connection. Even though they're not able to come here and be here and physically, or, they're here in spirit. They're here in our consciousness. They're here in our hearts. Another thing that we did in our spirit group was we celebrated Sandy's birthday a couple weeks ago, and we brought a cake to her, to our spirit group, and we celebrated with her. And this is one thing that spirit groups also do, is to celebrate each other, to be there for each other. We're there emotionally and physically and spiritually for each other, and in celebration of the transitions and all that's happening in our lives. So spirit groups are a great way to build friendships, to build connection, to build trust, to build love and happiness. And we know, and maybe you've heard me say it, when we're part of a small group, when we're part of a congregation, it is actually better for our health. And I don't know about you, I want to live as long and as I can, be as healthy as I can, and being a part of a small group helps to do that. So, all right. So the next C is compassion. And Marlene's going to share about that. Come on up, Marlene.
Good morning. So, as Reverend Blaine mentioned, in that spirit group module of connection, we had the question asked, can a spiritual practice make you healthier and happier? And I thought about that question, and as I was reviewing Module 3 of compassion, I had the thought that compassion is the hands and feet of spiritual practice. And since all the modules build on each other, became evident that compassion reveals how much we are working on our spiritual practice. And compassion literally means to suffer with, and the feeling arises when you are confronted with another's suffering and feel motivated to assist. So, while love melts blockages, compassion boosts our energy and immunity. So I want you all to do a little practice with me. Close your eyes. And I want you to think about a time when you needed some help and nobody came to help you. How does that feel to you? How does it feel in your body? And now I want you to think of a time when you needed some help and somebody came to help you. How does that make you feel? And let's take it a step further. Think of a time when you helped somebody. And how does that make you feel? So in this unit, not only did we have the stories of compassion that were shared in the video, but we as a group got to share our stories of compassion. And due to the nature of the group confidentiality, I won't share any stories. However, these stories really touched our lives, and they brought us to a deeper level of understanding between who we were and how we connect with each other. And they brought us deeper levels of compassion. Just hearing a story of compassion opens you up to deeper levels. The stories that we share joined us together in a common bond of being spiritual and of being human. And we enjoyed listening to the singer, Jan Stanfield, that was a part of the videos. And she has the most incredible, amazing songs that she wrote and sings. And two of her songs actually, because they were different times, and they're just wonderful statements. The one song is, "I stand before you asking for grace." And then the last one that really touched me, and this is actually in the module of community, but I feel it also touches the module of compassion, was, "I cannot do all the things that the world needs, but the world needs all the good that I can do." Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful, Marlene. Thank you. And now Lisa Jackson is going to share about community. Let's give a hand to Lisa.
Aloha. I was so excited when Spirit Groups came, and I said, yes, I want to be a host. And just to go back a little bit and to show you how impactful, I was born into this dimension as a solitary being and lived my life mostly self-contained. Parts of my life where I dipped my toe into community, it seemed like there were things that were done that didn't make me want to be a part of community. Being a part of community means you have to be vulnerable. And a lot of us would rather isolate, and not ask for help because it's easier than asking for help and not receiving it. And so we get into these little isolated places in ourselves where we are our own everything, but we can't be our own everything. We are a community, like the grounds outside, the rocks and the trees, they're community. They operate together. So do we. And so I have been doing a process. Once I got to Hawaii, it was easier to be myself because I love the spirit here. It's about community. So I stepped out, and people say now to me, "You are such a people person." And I look around and man, that's growth. And because it's easier to just be by myself. But here I feel family. I feel loved. When I first came to Unity in May, it was such an amazing experience. I said, okay, I'm home. I can just be myself in all of my glorious, ugly ways, and everyone's still gonna love me. So in the community part of our spirit groups, the one thing that I noticed our very first meeting is that we all came to the table with a feeling of, can I expose myself to you? We've known, and a lot of people have known each other for years inside of our spirit group, but didn't really have that deep connection of friendship and knowing about each other. And our group took it a step further. We said we're gonna have dates. It wasn't enough just to be in the group, so we all, which was a great treat, to sit down with each member, and we would go out to eat or go somewhere and spend hours. How did you get here? What has your life been like? Tell me where I can support you. We had all these conversations, and man, I have the best friends ever in this room. That is community. I don't have to be alone. I don't have to do it all myself. I can say to someone, I just need a hug or support, or if there's something going on, hey, can you assist me? That's what we built, and I feel that I can speak for everyone in our group that we definitely, our roots went a lot deeper, experiencing the community part. And then we took it a step further. We didn't just do one community project, the Maui Food Bank, where we packed 500 and something boxes with amazing people. Yesterday, we came to the church and did another service project. I'll have you know, I've never gardened, but I dug weeds and did mulch. That was a first. So I have expanded as a person, being a part of the spirit group, being a part of this community. And for the next round, I ask all of you, get involved. If were a member of a group, think about hosting a group so that we grow this love community, because that's really the essence of who we are. And we do our best work when we do it together. Thank you.
My goodness. You are amazing. Is she amazing or what? She walked in the door and it was like, oh my God. And she showed up and I'm like, I'm here. How can I do? What can I do? How can I help? Every morning, Lisa's one of the first people here. What can I do? How can I help? You are community. Bless you, dear. Wow. Okay, and so here's Emily Goss to share the challenge part.
Well, at the beginning of the Infinite Connection series, they encourage everyone to come up with an area, one of the 5 disciplines, one of the 5 C's that you're going to focus on and try to take it to the next level. And I thought, well, which one do I want to work with? And I realized that communion, the prayer and meditation part, that I had kind of fallen off of my practice a bit. I used to meditate really regularly every day and then stopped doing it quite so much. So I thought, well, here is a really good place for me to work. So I told the group that my intention was to meditate pretty much every day and also to do some yoga, at least 10 minutes of yoga every day. And amazingly enough, stating that to the group and saying, this is my intention, made me stick with it. And there were times when I would say, oh, I don't really feel like meditating today. I want to do something more fun. And, but I got to report back to the group. I told them I was going to do it. Am I going to report that I didn't? So I went and meditated and did my yoga. And it felt so much better to do my practice, and to get back into it. And then I'd go back to the group the next week and tell them, yeah, I did it and I feel better. And that gave me even more motivation because I had stated how much better it made me feel. So now I really, really want to make sure that I do my practice. And so my practice is revitalized and I'm doing it. I also noticed in the group that one of the people mentioned an issue that a lot of us have trouble with, and that is that they wanted to be less judgmental. And it was a little bit of a theme because several people said that that was an issue that they've dealt with. And the good thing was that people had ideas that were so practical. Like one of the people suggested, yeah, I have trouble with that too. And what I do is when I feel the urge to start to be judgmental about someone, to immediately think of something that I like about them, even if it's something like their hair looks nice today. And so sharing our challenge, knowing that other people have the same challenges, and helping each other with it was really, really valuable. So having that group support for the things that challenge you in your life, I highly recommend getting a group of people together that will support you in overcoming your challenges.
So thank you for sharing, everyone. And so where are we going next? What should we do next? Well, here's what it is. Mindy Odland, who created the Spirit Groups, wrote a book titled, What If It All Goes Right? Creating a new world of peace, prosperity, and possibility. I think I'm on chapter 8 in this book, and I love this book. She writes so beautifully and tells such great stories and challenges us in a really beautiful and heartful way. This, if you saw what happened in the last round of Spirit Groups, this series is even going to take us higher. This work is so good. I wrote that Joe Vitale, the author of Attractor Factor, writes, Mindy's book, this is off the charts, fun, high energy, and beyond creative. I got upgrades to my desires that amazed and delighted me, and got fabulous real-world results. John Bile, founder of the Make the Difference Network, writes, in our fast-paced world, we are in desperate need of simple yet powerful techniques to draw upon to properly focus our attention in the right ways and on the right things. Thank you, Mindy Odland, for combining so many useful concepts into such an easy to use and understand tool. So this is a great book. It'll be a great book study that will invite us into a fuller and deeper expression of the essence, the truth essence, the Christ essence of who we are. So I invite you to think about this, pray about this, and to be involved. We will announce the spirit groups. We're a few weeks away, but we wanted to give you some time to think and pray about it. So, speaking of pray about it, let's take a moment and close our eyes. And just take all this love and all these words into our hearts. Knowing that the presence of Spirit is right here, moving in and through and as us. We give thanks for this time together, for this unity community, where all of us come together to support, to love, to have compassion for each other, to connect with Spirit, to laugh and to cry, to open our hearts and our minds. To share our gifts here at Unity Church of Maui and in the world on this island. And let's just hold this thought for a moment. Breathing in and breathing out, and I invite you to bring your awareness back to this moment. To be aware of the light in the room, and to open your eyes whenever you're ready. Through infinite connections, I am united with all life. Let's say that together. Through infinite connections, I am united with all life. And so it is. Namaste.
Where I